Yo, welcome back to Tactics Talk with Guido. On this episode, I've got Banziduck back in his ISM, which is the new Tier 8 tank that splits off of the IS and goes up to the 705 and the 705 Alpha. It's got the rear-mounted turret, pretty decent front armor, and a fantastic turret. Rear-mounted and fantastic turret. Very strong turret, especially in the face. I have a review out there if you want to see it. Go ahead and check it out. I've played through this tank, but Bonzi's working on it right now. Looks like he's got it fully upgraded. And he has loaded into highway and on the north spawn headed down into the town in the southeast. Now, every once in a while, guys send me in videos that I've been working with for a while, and it kind of gets me jazzed. Yeah, that's old guy word, jazzed. That's what I said. It gets me jazzed when I start to see them doing things that I've talked to them about. Bonzi is a average to good player at the moment, but improving rapidly as he goes. I won't take all the credit for that, but I'll just take some of it. All right. But what he's going to show here is some pretty interesting gameplay. He's bottom tier in a 3.57, and people struggle with that quite a bit. If you run into the wrong tier 10s and 9s, your game can be done pretty quick. So being over aggressive at tier 8 as bottom tier is a problem. But being under-aggressive, I would say, is a bigger problem. And a lot of guys will go into these and say, all right, I'm bottom tier, so I'm a quote-unquote, air quotes, support tank. So I need to hang back. Well, yes and no. You need to hang back as in don't try to be the spearhead ramming into people's faces, but you need to be around the spearhead and be that annoying guy. And you need to play to the strengths of your tanks. Strengths of your tanks. There's a rhyme. Look how Bonzi's the first guy in here, and the rest of them probably sat back looking where everyone was going. Let's just talk about that for a moment. This is a nice shot right here, and a good job of using your tank strength. A little over-angled, there you go. So he's holding this corner. So back to him being here first. A lot of guys will stare around at what everyone else is doing, and that's their version of assessing the battle. You need to take a look at it in the 30 seconds you have at what the enemy team has, what you guys have, what tank you're in. That guy's over-angled. Nice job there, Bonzi. And make your decision off of that, not necessarily off of what your team is doing. Take that into account when you start moving. That's unfortunate. Didn't quite... Oh, over-angled Bonzi. Watch out. There you go. And that's a nice job. So you bait those shots. Oh, just unlucky. You didn't quite get to him before he got back. You will notice that he was hit by a tortoise. The tortoise is now lit, but he wasn't initially, so that was good SA. Nice shot there. And they take that down. Now, you should have backed out on your view a little bit earlier, so you could notice that you had these two behemoths in here. But once you finished that guy, you did so. Now you see they both just turned the corner, and Bonzi does a fantastic thing right here. He knows everyone's busy shooting at them, so he just takes this opportunity to move across. Not only does he move across, he shoots on the move. Unfortunately, he didn't hit anything, but that's just one of those shots you take. Now he's in here looking to, again, air quotes, support his two big fatties sitting there fighting these guys off. So using a little side scrape. Now this is where I'm going to critique just a bit here, Bonzi. I would really like to see you go further across and start looking down the, the zero line. Sorry, not the zero line, the K. There we go. What you doing right now? See if there's anybody over there. But if you count noses on what you have up here, what you see in the middle, and what's up by the cap, there's probably not much you're too afraid of here. Now, you don't want to go trundling into the tortoise and let him take you down. And I also think you had an opportunity to get a little more aggressive right here. Now, Bonzi will move up here. There goes the Type 4. I really think you could have followed that Type 4 in there. If you'd have got up to those buildings much sooner, you'd have been in a better position to start supporting all these guys. So there goes the Type 4 that way. There you go. And this is the position I would have taken much earlier, just to kind of side scrape here and see if anybody wants to try to come around and start shooting my guys on the side. And, oh, there's one of them right there. Nice job with the... Oh, a little over-angled trying to get away. That's pretty common. Take his reload time to do this, and I really like this positioning. This is where this thing's turret and side scrape ability are just going to shine. Look at that. Bounce that off. These guys outnumber your two tanks that are up close, and if they'd had any kind of aggression, that tortoise would have just come to you, up to you and started kicking your rear. but he's very passive. He's going to sit there and let you use this dead hole. Got 3 that time. Oh, he's shooting HE. I didn't notice that the first time I watched. Switched to APCR and bounced. So you're just, you know you're trolling these guys when they go to HE in a tortoise because they just can't quite get to you and you can't really figure out what to do with you right here. He's had enough. He's going to come in and try to get a shot on you. You're going to hang. Oh, you make him miss. Very angry now. Very angry. Another one into his hatch and down he goes. So that was just well done all around. And that's where I get into where I was saying earlier that Banzi is a good player getting better. His fundamentals, things like that, like side scraping, positioning in a small battle like that are actually very solid, very good. It's working on, like most players, including myself, working on overall SA, where to be and when to be there. Situational awareness and reaction to the game, which is huge. A lot of it is instinctual. A lot of people say, well, you can't teach it. That's not exactly true. You can hone it. And in some cases, you can teach it. And we're coming up to one of those spots right here, I think, in my opinion, because look at what we got going on. Some of you have probably already seen this. You're thinking, man, he's really messing around. There's a lot of guys up by their cap. You probably should have turned around. And that decision should have been made after they took down the tortoise, because you had enough beef pushing in there to take out the low and the T28 or whatever it was that was left there. So that would have been your opportunity to just student body right and head up to the north and go back to cap. But now that you get to this position, if you look at the number of guns, you've got a bat chat, an RHM, a couple artilleries. I'm not completely sure your cap is safe, but I think it's pretty safe at this point. And let's see what ends up happening here. He's going to turn around and he's going to go back. And that is the safe bet. He goes through the buildings. I think he's trying to avoid being spotted potentially by the bat chat 25T getting hit in the side. And he's going to head back and just help make sure. I'm not going to make you watch the rest of this because his team does push in and take out those guys. You see the JPZ started heading trundling that way a while ago. The Conqueror's headed that way as well. The only guy who pushes the cap is the Type 4. So I think once you took down the tortoise, you should have just headed towards the cap. And I think you might have actually got a shot or two had you done that based on the timing as I watched the rest of the game and your guys got into the cap. So there was probably a shot there. At this point, it's a bit of a gut call whether you push down and look for that bat chat and support that Type 4 and try to kill their Arty, or whether you go back. And I think I would lean towards going back. And the reason why is the Arty is the X factor right now. If a couple of those guys going in to try to reset the cap are low hit points, say the RHM, for example, or even the bat chat, and Arty is able to nuke those dudes, you could have trouble getting spots on the guys on the cap, and you might, say 2 or 3 get on there, you might get capped out. It's probably not going to be 3 because the bat chat's nowhere near. So if the Udes and the Conqueror both get on cap, potential for trouble. So I'm on board with you going back, but those are just some of those things when I talk about overall SA and positioning. You had a couple decisions on the decision tree. Pull it back to killing the tortoise, I'd have headed straight out. Getting to this position, it's a bit of a gut call, but again, I would do what you're doing. I would lean towards going back to the cap. And that's one of the reasons why that kind of SA and positioning is hard to teach. It's not always 100% one thing or the other. But you can certainly lean one way or the other based on your SA. All right, guys, I hope you like what you saw. I hope you learned something there today. Nice job, Banzi. I liked it. 2,791 damage. Oh, quite a bit bounced, actually. That's like having a whole nother tank with you right there. You bounced a whole nother hit points worth of tank. So it was as if you had 2 ISMs with you today as one. All right. See ya.